Have you ever thought about making a podcast?
Yeah, we're doing it.
I know I have. You get it? So, when we were thinking about putting out a podcast, we wanted to make sure that we had all of the, software things that we needed to record. We wanted to have all the things that we needed to edit. And it seemed like there was a lot of different things and a lot of different places. But what we found was Spotify for podcasters. And that was really what we needed to open the door to all of those different things. They have it all.
Right. I'm a technology dummy, but with the Spotify for podcasters, you can use it from your phone or you can use it from your computer. So even if you travel or you're on the road, you can still do your podcast. If you want to go interview somebody at their house, you can do that with your phone, which is super cool. And then, you can distribute your podcast on it's called rebranded, but it was Anchor before. Now it's Spotify for podcasters.
Yeah.
Nice. You can also do video podcasts, have conversations with your fans. You can take it to the next level even and have a Q&A or polls. So with that, you can also earn money doing ads like this one.
What?
Best of all, it's totally free.
So it's free.
So it's free. So don't miss out. If you have a voice and you want to get it out there to the public, don't be scared. Just get on to
Did you say skirt?
Spotify.com/podcasters. Or you can download the Spotify for Podcasters app on any app store. So Spotify.com/podcasters to get started putting your crazy voice out there on the internet.
And getting fringy.
That's
Do
right.
it.
Stay fringy, my peeps.
Do it.
Hello, everybody out there in Fringy Land. Welcome back. We are That's So Fringy podcast. We're glad that you were able to join us today. We just wanted to preface with saying a few things about our next couple of episodes. We're going to have a couple of controversial episodes. As I've been alluding to, we're having Flat Earth Dave on. That's this episode that you've just clicked on and you're ready to go. You're all pumped. You're fired up, ready to learn all about
Stumbled into
it.
it now.
Yeah. And so, the flat earth is kind of a controversial topic for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And we just encourage you not to just shut it off because of what you've heard on the TV or the media or about flat earthers and how dumb they are. Because the one thing that, people like to do is just make fun of flat earthers. And I don't really think that that's the way that you have a conversation, like if you wanted to have a conversation with somebody about the flat earth, just like anything else, you would want to be respectful and you would want to listen and you would want to be kind, all of those different things. Well, it seems like for this topic, it's people just shut down and, that might be programming. It might be a little bit of cognitive dissonance. I mean, if you think about it, and I'm aware of this, that the flat earth is one of those things that, you get taught from a very young age that the earth is a round planet floating through space, spinning. There's the whole solar system. We know about all of this stuff, which we're going to go over in the episode. But if you think about how old you are and when you first started learning about the earth as you know it today, that's been many, many years of learning one thing, learning one model of understanding the world around you. So if you could take a little bit of time to look into an alternate view, an alternate theory, because, to be honest with you guys, we don't know. And unless I unless I get my own rocket ship or my own air balloon or whatever, I'm not going to know what is real and what's not. But I know what I observe. And that's what I'm hoping that you guys will be able to tune into, is the fact that we're just having a conversation about this. There's no reason to just switch this off and be like, oh, these flat earthers are dumb. Let's just listen and see what the guy has to say. We'll have a conversation, but don't check out just on the account of, what the topic is, because that's what we're here to do, is talk about fringy things, right, guys?
Mm-hmm. And if the Bible is the guide that we're holding everything up against, then, we should probably pay attention to what it has to say about this subject too. And the other thing that people have to remember is, just because the earth is flat, and I'm using air quotes, doesn't mean that you're not still seeing stars and planets and things up in the sky, because you absolutely are. It's not the way that it's that same thing we've talked about in just about every episode, that 9 truths and a lie. They're telling you most of the story, but not all of it. So you're still seeing things, and I'm sure that Dave's going to explain all that stuff when he comes on, but don't tune out. And in fact, if this starts to make sense to you, send it to somebody else, because a lot of people get the only introduction they have to the flat earth is the wacko conspiracy theory, dumb flat earthers.
People get real upset. We hope you enjoy this episode. Please go into it with open mind. Please like, subscribe, share. If you feel like giving to the podcast, do it. There's a link at the bottom where you can do that. If you feel like doing a shout out, as you guys know, at the bottom of the show notes, there's links where you can do that. And, we just want to interact with you guys, kind of get a feel for our audience and how they're receiving the content, what they want to know. Like, do you guys want us to dig in? We had a lady that reached out to us that asked us to dig into, the books of the Bible, or the Apocrypha, the books that didn't make it into the Bible, mm-hmm. the ones that are not in the canon, as they call it. So yeah, that's something we're going to dig into. Thank you for reaching out to us, Janice. We really appreciate that. And we do wanted to give you that shout out, and we are going to do an episode on that. Yep. So stay tuned for all of that, guys. We're so thankful that you guys are even listening. This is, it started out as just a little thing, and it's starting to blow up, and we're just so thankful, because we know it's because of you guys listening and taking the time out of your days to give us the time of day. So we appreciate that. So with that, we're going to wrap this intro up, because it's been long, and we're going to jump right into the episode. Here we go. That's so fringy. All right, you guys, we are here with Flat Earth Dave. So excited to have you on, brother. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, no problem. Always happy to talk to people with working minds.
Yeah, we love that. Hey, we have an audience of people that are just, all over the map when it comes to what they believe. And that's awesome. We love people that are thinking outside of the box. And we wanted to introduce them to the flat earth. And when we thought about that, we thought, who better to do that than Flat Earth Dave? Because I remember listening to your podcast and getting a lot of information, going deep inside the rabbit hole and learning about these things. And so I just wanted to give you an opportunity to maybe introduce yourself and tell our audience, kind of how you stumbled into the Flat Earth.
So you used to listen to my Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole podcast before Flat Earth. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So I was doing this podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole about many of the major deceptions of the world, from the New York event, to Connecticut, to Boston. And then Flat Earth came up. And, being an open, conspiracy-minded person, I closed my mind and said, you're an idiot. And I would ban those people from our social media for even asking such a stupid question. And then, no, just watch this 2-minute video. And I'm like, nope, delete, blocked, right?
Yeah.
And I refused. And then my good friend Sophia Smallstorm one day said to me, she goes, Dave, I think the earth might be flat. And I'm like, are you friggin' kidding me? And she goes, here, watch these videos. And here's the thing. Anything I tell you today, don't believe it. I'm just pointing to some windows. Go verify this stuff yourself. So I watched the video she sent me, and then back in 2014, YouTube would go, "Oh, you like that? Here, look at this, look at this, look at this," and they'd give you other content that matches what you're watching, that give you more
Yeah.
information. And that was it. And the thing that got me was, boats over the horizon. We know that boats disappear from the bottom up because the Earth is a globe. Because Bill Nye, the lying guy with the bow tie, told us that. And
Yeah.
and I live on the water. So at that time, Nike kind of just come out with their P900 super zoom camera, better than most telescopes. And I went out, spent $1,000, camera, tripod, went down to the beach, sat at the water's edge, zoomed in on things that should have been 60 feet below the curve. And there they are. I'm like, wait a minute, maybe the calculation's wrong, So I went to the debunking websites, like the one Metabunk, that's what Google will serve to you. And, Mick West, the ultimate shill, soulless, troll. He's like, well, no, it's half that distance because the object is halfway over the curve and you're halfway over the other curve, which is absolutely retarded. But I'll give it to him. I'll say, okay, instead of 66 feet of curvature, there's only 33 feet of curvature. Well, I'm looking at a buoy that's 10 feet tall. I'm looking at people sitting on a beach, water's edge. Yeah. Okay. They'd be behind a 3-story building. Okay. Go get somebody, put them on one side of a 3-story building. You're on the other and tell me if you can see them. And
right.
And so that was it. That was the one that did it for me. And, and people want to throw their hands up right away and go, well, why would they lie? Why the lie? And I love that question. But the point is, before you say why they lie, you have to look at the evidence. And I always give this gruely example. You walk into a room and there's 20 dead bodies, hacked up, blood everywhere, axes, guns, right? They're all dead, okay? You don't go, what's the motivation? I don't believe it. You look at the evidence first and you go, okay, there's dead bodies here. I can't fathom what the reason is, what the motivation was, but there it is. So you look at the evidence first and then figuring out the motivation, the reason, and there's plenty of good reasons. I mean, in my opinion, the reasons are enough proof for me.
Yeah, I'm with you there because it just seems like, when you first start looking into it, people try to think like, oh, well, why would they even do that? No, NASA's lying, this person's lying, that person's lying. So, you go down this list of all these scholars and scientists, and you're saying, okay, so everybody's lying except for you, Mr. Flat Earther. And you're like, yeah, pretty much. And that's what they want to know. But what you're saying is there is evidence out there. There's a lot of it.
Well, that's the other thing. Not everyone's lying. Very few people are lying. The teachers, they're the ones that memorize and regurgitate the Rockefeller-funded disinformation textbooks, and they do it so well they become the teachers. So your teacher's not lying to you. That's what they believe. That's what they were told. And every pilot in on it? No, pilots fly straight and level over the Earth plane. They take off, they land, and the plane flies the other way. And if you say, hey, where are we? They don't look out the window. They look at the map and they say, oh, GPS says we're here. GPS is run by NASA. And the other thing is, when you look at NASA, so NASA has their rocket launches, they have their International Space Station, they have their moon landings, right? And if you look at let's say the International Space Station, and I say, hey, check this out. Look, they're hanging from wires. Look, they're using green screens. Okay. Look, they're faking this no gravity. How many examples of that do you need to unwind all the way to NASA's lying about everything? And the answer is one. You only need one, right? If they're hanging from wires once, the entire thing is a sham. And you guys have seen my videos. And when anyone asks about rockets, I show the Elon Musk Starhopper that's going to Mars that he launched. It's the fakest thing ever. Like, I think if I went to a random person on the street and said, watch this 3-minute video, and then you tell me, is this from a B movie? Is this a high school project? Or is this an actual live footage of Elon Musk testing a rocket that's going to Mars? Nobody would pick number 3. And then when you tell them it's number
Nobody.
3, they go, no, you're wrong. You're lying. That's too
Yeah.
fake. And the answer is you can go look it up yourself. You can see it. And then what do you do with that information? You unwind it all the way to Elon Musk is a total fraud from PayPal to SpaceX. He's a total fraud. On my website, flatearthdave.com is the easiest way to get there. Flatearthdave.com. Scroll down to the Elon Musk banner. Click it. There's a 5-minute video there that will show you that Elon Musk, the savior of our world because he's freeing Twitter, is a total puppet, MK Ultra, mind controlled, brainwashed or paid shilled. I don't know what he is, but he's a complete and total fake.
Yeah. I mean, you see pictures of him from the past and you're like, that's not even the same guy. That dude doesn't even have any hair. Like, what's going on
Maybe
here?
not. Maybe it's a different guy. They're switching stuff out. Have you guys seen what's going on with the AI voices and stuff? Have you seen?
Oh, yeah.
It is
Yeah, we did an
insane.
episode on AI.
Yeah, check out my channel, DITRH, my Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, my video channel. I just did one. I call it Strawman Dan. You know who Strawman Dan is, right?
Yeah.
And I literally took 30 seconds of his voice, threw it into AI, wrote a little script for it. Very funny. He loves my app, by the way. And and it sounds exactly like him. It's crazy.
Oh wow.
That is crazy.
So-
that they can do that type of stuff is wild.
I'm starting to wonder if some of these space shuttle astronauts are even real people. I mean, have you met all of them? You know, they're faking
Yeah.
stuff. It is hard to tell. I mean, Obama, when he was in office, he did his ISIS speech. He did this weird speech where he came out of like this, down this hallway, walked up to this half door, stood behind the half door, did his speech and walked away. And it looked really weird. But if you watch it today with new eyes, it's like watching the moon landings in the 60s and 70s. And then
Yeah.
watching them today, they don't hold up. You watch that Obama one today, you're like, that's not real. That's not a real person. That's CGI, right? And
Yeah.
so this stuff
When
doesn't
you
hold
begin to
up.
have an eye for that type of stuff.
It's unbelievable, right? It's unbelievable. So there's some crazy stuff going on. So they're getting better and better at faking it. Think of this slightly off topic, but let me just throw this out. You've seen the ChatGPT where basically you can say, "Hey, give my kids some good advice every day," and it'll type out something really good. You know, it'll type out some pretty decent information based on whatever parameters. So let's say a parent is knows they're dying and they clone their voice, and then they tell ChatGPT to raise their kids. These kids are going to worship a fake version of their parents. They're not even going to know.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's
exactly.
some crazy stuff coming up. And then, and now with the deep fake, you can actually have the actual person that looks like the person talking to the kids, and the kids could talk to it, and then it will respond back with something intelligent. This is
Right.
insane, right? So
Yeah, it's wild.
the line between reality and fake is gotten really thin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember, the first time I brought Flat Earth up to my wife, she was like, "What are you talking about? Why does this even matter?" But I think for me, I think the first thing that really got her to kind of do a double take was when they had launched some probe out to Saturn or something like that. And they had gotten close to the rings, and they were showing this video of how it's going in there and everything like that. And I showed it to my wife and I was like, "Hey, who's filming that?"
They were showing how awesome the camera was that was taking pictures of the rings of Saturn. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're right. Who is filming the camera that's filming the rings?
Yeah,
Who was
'cause
the first man to step
is there
on the
just
moon?
some dude in space flying out there filming it for you?
Well, it's the same guy that followed the orbiter when it left the moon. It was being filmed from behind, right?
Right.
And
right.
and when Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, he was filmed from the moon. First step
Yeah.
on the moon is filmed by a camera that's already on the moon.
Yeah.
And
How does that work?
and then the nonsense that they put out there is unbelievable. The lie is so big that people can't fathom that it's a lie. Just today, here's an article, and they come out every day. Massive asteroid about the size of 69 American alligators will pass by Earth Tuesday, NASA warns. Okay, 69 American alligators, asteroid. They are running out of stuff to make up. Okay,
Yeah.
but this is in astronomy today.
Yeah, it's almost like somebody's writing that stuff on purpose just to be like, yeah, we know that you guys out there are stupid and you're never even going to look at this a second time. But then there's us that are like, what are we talking about? How is an alligator a unit of measure now?
It's absolutely amazing. And every Halloween, a jack-o'-lantern shaped asteroid is coming, right? I mean, they rerun the same stuff every year. And people are like, oh my God, wow. How many times have we grown potatoes and seen found water on Mars, right? They've grown
Yes.
lettuce in space for the first time, the 25th time.
Yeah, exactly. And then you see those pictures where, and I don't know if anybody in my audience has seen it. I know your audience probably has, but where they found the space station in Canada, or the moon station in Canada. Did you see that?
Oh, and Jaron found that. It was the Mars rover on Devon
That's
Island. Is
right.
that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, that was Jaron that found that.
Yeah, and it's right there in front of us. I'm like, did the Google camera accidentally catch them, or did they put it out there? There's a thing called revelation of the method, and that is where they
Hmm.
always have to tell us what they're doing, and that's
Mhm.
their way of avoiding karma. Whether it works or not, I don't know, but that's what they believe. So that's what they're doing because they're not allowed to break our free will, right? Because if they
Right.
could break our free will, we'd all be dead. Okay,
Yep.
but they need us to have free will, and if they can manipulate us into doing their bidding, thinking the way they want to think, creating the world with our mind that they want, then that's good on them, bad on us.
Mhm.
The truth
Yeah.
is, the part of the why, the big part is they don't want us to know how this world works. They don't want us to know that our thoughts create our reality. Because if
Right.
everyone that's woken up to flat Earth is starting to figure this out, and they've unplugged from the heliocentric matrix, which is the prison for your mind. They put your mind in a globe, and there's nothing more to discover. Remember the Truman Show? There's nothing more to
Yep.
discover. Truman, he wants to be an explorer, and
Mhm.
Yep.
that's what they have your mind. And if they've limited your mind like that, then they keep you in fear with the news. They steer your mind with the news. News is an acronym for North, East, West, South, right? And they put
Hmm.
the worry lines in your forehead, the headlines, and they keep
Hmm.
you in this fear: nuclear bombs, war, famine, global warming. Plymouth Rock. There's photos of Plymouth Rock from when it was founded, like 1600s or whatever, or 17, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and then 18, another photo from 1850, and another one from 2020, and it's at the same water level. It's at the same level in the
Yeah.
water.
Mhm.
The water hasn't
And
changed at all in hundreds of years since that. You know,
people are
and they want you
panicking
to
over
believe that we're
global warming.
that yeah, global warming and we're running out of space. We're overpopulated. Lie, right? Well, nuclear bombs are going to
Hmm.
blow us up. Lie. We're running out of oil. Another lie. Hiding free energy, hiding technology, hiding our true past. Right? We all
Yeah.
think
Right.
that we're at the peak of intelligence and civilization when we're actually in the middle of the movie Idiocracy. And
Yeah.
in the
Exactly.
1800s, there was an advanced civilization worldwide here, far more advanced than we are now, right? More
Mhm.
Yeah.
connected to nature, more harmonious, right? But
Hmm.
something happened. I don't know what happened, but it involved a lot of mud.
Yep. A lot of mud and some orphans.
Yeah. Yeah. And now the whole orphan train thing, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. And I've got theories on that. Um, but they don't want us to know. Look into the World's Fairs. I assume you guys have my app. And on my
Yeah.
Mhm.
app and the homeschooling section, there's a John Levy button. I
Hmm.
advise you, I watch that 20-minute video each week, and that'll blow your mind. And if you guys discovered Jake from I'm the Improbable Dreamer on Instagram, write that down. One word: I'm the Improbable Dreamer. Right?
Okay.
And sit back one day, put your feet up on the couch, and flip through Instagram and watch 20 or 30 of his 1-minute videos. Okay. your life will
Okay.
change. It literally will change your DNA, okay, in a good
Yeah.
way. It'll wake you up going, wow, I've really been indoctrinated and I will never see the world the same. You will never be able to walk outside in nature and see it the same way again once you watch these videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
And Jake doesn't make any claims going, these people did this because of this reason. And he goes, look at this. Explain that with our narrative. And he basically ends each video by saying, we live in a post-apocalyptic world. Research the mud floods and the fall of Tataria.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
people that don't do their research and they just have their head in the sand and they're fine with that. It's scary because you try to pull people out of this slumber that they're in, but
Yeah.
it's like a lifeguard and a drowning victim. They're trying to fight you the whole time, and every once in a while, it's like I feel like I got to punch you in the face just to calm you down for a second, and I can save you. It's like I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to show you these things.
This is how I see the world. We are eternal, non-physical souls, and we spiral down to this lowest level, this lowest vibration that we call physical reality, and we take our turn in these meat suits, these bodies, and we come here with the agreement that we will have amnesia to what the world really is, and we're here to expand the mind of the creator, which we are part of. And so your conscious mind is your um, you know, is your physicalness here, and your soul is trying to talk to your conscious mind, but they've filled our heads with so much chatter and so much fear that we can't hear what our soul is saying. Like when you calm your mind and, meditate, for lack of a better word, you actually have that soul connection. When you sleep, you connect back with your soul. And they don't want you in that situation. So when people are really disconnected from their soul, they get depressed because your soul is responsible for all of your motivation and a lot of the chemical reactions that happen in your body when your soul's getting frustrated. You get depressed, right? And then so many people have depression, they get addicted to drugs and all sorts of stuff. And I've seen that when people wake up to flat earth, first, depression disappears, drug
Hmm.
addiction disappears. Now, yeah, a lot of flat earthers smoke a lot of weed, but that's a whole nother story. Um, and I actually wonder if that actually helps unlock some of the programming because there's definitely some medicinal stuff there, but that's a whole nother thing.
I've heard
But
that with
there's,
what's that lady, Bethany, that said that?
oh
What's
yeah,
that SRA
Or
survivor?
Kathy O'Brien.
Kathy O'Brien.
Kathy O'Brien.
yeah,
She
yeah,
said
yeah.
that actually.
Yeah. So there's there's so much to that. But I've seen it, and there's a group of flat earthers that all share a common. They used to be addicted to pharmaceuticals and now they're not, which is amazing,
Hmm.
right? And they're
It is.
really become a productive, intelligent research group. And so many people that were just depressed. Think about this: boredom. Do you
Mhm.
guys remember what boredom is? I have no idea anymore. Right? There's
Yeah.
never a moment of any day anywhere. If I'm stuck in
Mm-mm.
traffic, for 5 hours, I'm like, that's 5 hours of stuff I can listen to, podcasts I can listen to,
Mhm.
and stuff.
Yeah.
There's always something to do, and I'm to the point where I'm. The thing that depresses me is there's so much content I want to consume, and there's not enough time in the day. Right?
Yeah.
So
No, I hear
That's
that
how Rick is.
loud and clear,
I
brother.
made a little. I was like, I need more time to research this stuff, and then I got insomnia. Well, there's 5 more hours a day. Okay, so
Praise the Lord.
yeah. Well, you get what you ask for. You definitely get what you
Yeah.
ask for.
So Dave, I'm curious, like when people come to you that are totally not familiar with the flat earth model, like how do you dumb it down? Because there's so much to it. How do you dumb it down for those people that have no concept of what it even looks like or anything?
Yeah. So there's different levels, but I say, how much research have you done? Well, I went to school and there's millions of proofs of the
Mhm.
globe and none of flat earth. I'm like, can you give me one? and they're going to go, well, seasons, sunsets, boats over the horizon. And you could take those apart one by one. But one of the tactics I use, I say, well, I've never felt the spin and I've never seen the curve. You've never felt the spin. You've never seen the curve. Why do you think the Earth is a globe? And then they'll come up with, the regular list of Flat Earth 101 questions. And then you systematically take them apart. I show them the app. I show them the things. I show them how seasons work. And you can explain each one of these things away. The question is, are they really willing to listen? Some people will listen. And if they listen, they become, and no globe no more. Once you go flat, you never globe back. And
Right.
the other thing is, I say, I show them the picture, that if you Google flat Earth images, I go, this is not flat Earth. This is stupid. Okay. A disc floating in space, water falling off the edge. There is no edge. And so the basic way I describe it, I said, clear your head of everything, right? All of those lights in the sky that they tell you are planets, they're just lights in the sky. They're here. They're part of the Earth system. So imagine yourself in Kansas and there's a lake that's 50 miles across. That's a giant lake, right? I live on Long Island Sound. It's 7 miles across. It's really big, okay? 50 miles across. And at the center of the lake is an island with a very tall magnetic rock on it, super strong magnetic rock, right? So anywhere on that lake, my compass will always point to the center of that lake. So I'm out in the lake sailing around and I try to go west. West is a circle around the center, equidistant. So if I'm 25 miles from the shore, 25 miles from the center, 25, that would put me in the center. 12 miles from the shore, 12 miles from the center. And I tried to go west, I'd make a circle with a radius of 12 miles around the center. And I'd come right back to where I started from. So I circumnavigated the lake. Well, that works on a flat Earth and it works on a globe Earth, right? Because when even on a globe Earth, you always have to correct to the north to maintain east and west. And if I went south, which is every direction away from the center. So if if I'm looking down on the lake, and it's a clock, if I went to 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or 9 o'clock, those are all south if I'm coming from the center. And then I say, when you get to the edge of the lake, do you fall off? No. You step up onto the land. I go, well, you know what? Antarctica is the land that surrounds our world pond. And it's the highest land on Earth. It's the highest land. It contains our waters. Then you climb up onto the land. You're in Kansas still, 50-mile lake, and you start walking away. And a mile from the lake, you can't even see the lake anymore. And you're walking, all this extra land, right? Let's say you walk 50 miles or you get in a car, 50 miles, 100 miles away. Okay. And then all of a sudden you come to another lake. What's that? Right? That's another lake. That's another world, a whole nother world, oceans and land. And what would you call that? That would be extra territory, extra terra across the plane, right? Occupying a piece of the plane, which you would call a planet. And people that live there, you might consider them extraterrestrials from the outer space. This is all scientifically possible. This is all stuff that we speculate on. There's lots of evidence for it. There's lots of books, old books talking about land beyond Antarctica. Admiral Byrd, Project High Jump, went out and said there's lands bigger than the United States on the other side of Antarctica. Wait a minute. That doesn't work. Because the other side of Antarctica for us is Australia. Okay? How can there be another United States there? Right? And, after he did that, immediately the following year, oh, look, Antarctic Treaty, all the countries in the world agree. You can't go to Antarctica where there's tons of resources, no people, no displacement of anybody to get the resources, but nobody can go there. And then, hey, we're going to space. Look over here. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Then you look at the moon landing. Come on. Anyone that thinks we went to the moon is just a lazy person.
It really is. I mean, if like I said before, if you got your head in the sand and you just don't care, I mean, that's your prerogative. If that's where you want to be, that's it, whatever. But if you're going to seriously tell me that we went to the moon and you researched it, then I don't believe you.
You Googled it.
You definitely did not.
And you got fed information, and the information you were given is actually horrible. But it's easier to believe horrible information than to verify things yourself. Belief is the enemy of knowing, right? You can believe anything you want. I live in Connecticut. Do you believe me? You probably do believe me, but do you know it? You don't know it. You believe me because why would I lie? Right? Right. And then you could do
Right.
some
Sure.
research, but you're not going to go research every single thing that you're told. Right. You have to, we live in a world where we have to operate by trusting. Right. We live in a truthful world, but there's liars in this world, and people, fall for those lies, and they don't understand it. And people are generally good people, but they
Mhm.
can't fathom the evil that there is in this world. It's unreal. So I know that, different things motivate different people. So I have my 3 Bitcoin offer, which is get my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Watch the featured video each day for 2 weeks. Short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekend. At the end of that 2 weeks, if you can come up with one globe proof, send it to me and you win 3 Bitcoins. That's simple. But if you do that, you're going to lose your friends and family because you're going to be a flat earther and you're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah. These are the
Have you guys watched-
consequences.
Yeah, have you guys watched Level and The Next Level, the movies by Hitler Productions?
I think I've seen Level. I don't think I've seen The Next Level.
So The Next Level, it's linked in the app under FE Movies. If you go to the web button and scroll down, you'll see FE Movies. The Next Level came out last year on Flat Earth Day, April 22nd. And it's a great one. And I happen to be in it, but that's not why it's great. And then on Flat Earth Day this year, formerly known as Earth Day, on April 22nd, they're coming out with Level with Me. This one is the game changer. Here's the other thing. If you don't want to get the app and, take the time to watch the videos every day while you have your breakfast, watch all 3 levels, and you won't even bother trying to send me a proof because you'll be a flat earther.
It's true, man. The more I do research, the more proofs I find every time, and at some point, it gets to the place where you have to say,
That's just because you want
Right.
the earth to be flat. You're looking to reaffirm your bias. That's what people will say, right? Here's
That's
the
what
truth.
they say. Yeah.
I'm looking to prove the earth is a globe. Okay. At this
Mhm.
point, I'm confident that it's not, but I am willing to look at anything that'll prove the earth is a globe. The problem is there's nothing to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really have to do our research, and for us, our podcast is kind of a Christian leaning podcast, and I have a friend that was an atheist, and he said that when he found the flat Earth, it opened his eyes to that the creation is just as it says it is in the Bible.
Flat Earth is the globe lie is the heliosinister trick. It's the soul lure system. It's to hide the creator. Okay, that is one of the main reasons. But if you tell somebody that doesn't believe in the creator, you start with that, they're going to discount it right away. So I like
Sure.
talking about they're hiding land, hiding technology, hiding all these things. And then when you look in the app on the web page button, there's 2 buttons. One is Biblical 24/7. It's a streaming channel, and then another playlist of biblical flat Earth videos that are absolutely amazing. If you're a Bible follower or a Bible hater, you need to watch these videos, and they're mind blowing and life changing. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And life gets better. I mean, it's shocking at first because somebody's ripping your ball away. Nobody likes having their ball taken away. It's a ball we grew up with, right? Everyone loves spheres. They do. Well, golf balls, kick balls, beach balls, right? There's something about a sphere, and we've been told that all the other lights in the sky, they're spheres. You don't know that they're spheres. They're lights. They're pulsing orbs of energy. Our consumer optics have outgrown their lies.
For me, it was Antarctica. That's what sealed the deal for me. I was like, wait, what? There's an ice wall? What?
I call it the ice shoreline. Game of Thrones. I say the entire reason for that series, besides lying about our history, is to make you believe in an ice ball, right? The ice shoreline, right? A wall. You would think that it's like the Great Wall of China. It has 2 sides. The shoreline of Antarctica. Most of it is a 200-foot high ice cliff. And then the
Hmm.
plateau is on top of that. Well, that's the container, that's the shoreline of our world pond. What got me on Antarctica is 60 degrees south, which is over 1,000 miles from Antarctica. Um, no one's allowed to go there. No one's allowed to explore the Southern Ocean, which is bigger than the rest of the oceans of the world combined. Uncharted waters.
Hmm.
No one is allowed to
Hmm.
independently explore there. And you're not physically allowed to go there, and you're not physically allowed to go to the North Pole. And
Hmm.
so let's go look at it on Google Earth. Here's what I tell everyone to do: go on your web browser, not the Google Earth program, but on your web browser, go to I think it's earth.google, the Google Earth web browser one. Take out the
Hmm.
measuring tool and draw a chart. Trace out the United States. It'll tell you the square miles of the United States, and try another place and try another place. Then try to do it on Antarctica, and it won't let you measure Antarctica. It'll literally create a crescent moon around it, but it won't let you measure it. And try the same thing at the North
Hmm.
Pole. So not only are the North Pole and South Pole physically off limits, they're virtually off limits too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild, and they have. I mean, I've seen videos of people that have tried to go and just like, screw it, we're going there. We're just going to figure it out, and they've been intercepted by
Yeah.
ships
Yep.
and
That's in
fighter jets.
the second level movie, The Next Level. There's a scene in there with that. There people can't understand. They're like, well, we've known the Earth is the globe 2,000 years ago. Aristophanes figured it out with sticks and shadows. That's just a story. If Aristophanes, a mathematician who may or may not be a real person, let's just assume he's real, figured out that
Hmm.
the size of the Earth with his sticks and shadows experiment, which is scientifically impossible to do back then, um, he'd be the most famous mathematician ever. But there's no mention of his experiment in any book until the mid 1900s. Okay? What the
Hmm.
heck? That's like writing, other mathematicians writing books. Leaving him out is like writing the history of the Chicago Bulls and leaving out Michael Jordan. Okay?
Hmm.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we don't need to mention him. Um, it's absolutely stupid. And then when you actually look at it, there's, the story with Aristophanes, right? You guys must, because you're
Yes.
flat earthers. Um, he did his sticks and shadows. His buddy 500 miles away. Somehow they were able to communicate. I don't know how that happened. Um, his Eratosthenes stick had no shadow, and the other guy's stick had a shadow. They measured the length of the shadow and did some great math and figured out the sphericity of the world. Well, Aristophanes believed he's like, this only works with straight sun rays. Well, you only have straight sun rays with what we call an infinitely far sun. 93 million miles is infinitely far, and so all the rays come in straight. Problem is, nobody ever has seen straight sun rays come through the broken clouds, right? They always go crepuscular, they always spread out. No one has
Yep.
ever
Hmm.
seen that. And so the other thing is, back then, they believed in a geocentric world where the sun circled around the earth. So, how can you have a gigantic, infinitely far sun orbiting a tiny speck earth?
Hmm.
That makes no sense. Makes
Yeah.
no sense. So they lie in so many ways that they get. I think they're just stupid. I think they don't even realize how dumb their stories are. So
Well, I don't think they were playing the long game. I think
yeah,
that they
maybe.
thought that they were going to get us under control a lot sooner than they actually were able to. And as as we were able to find more evidence, I think they kind of lost control at this point. They don't have any control over the monkeys anymore.
Yeah, I think they're rushing some plans. I think a lot of stuff is going. And I always used to wonder. Why do they need our permission to start a war? Why do they need us to pound the war drums? They got the keys to all the fighter jets and everything.
Hmm.
Why did
Hmm.
why And the answer is they need us to do their killing for them. George Bush never killed anybody,
Right.
okay? But he got order followers to kill other order followers. That's on you. If I convince you to kill somebody, that's on you, not on me.
Hmm.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And so they did 9/11, and then we all pounded the war drums, including me. I'm like, let's get those
Hmm.
guys, right? Because we were all under a spell. And so they
Yeah.
started
Oh
all
yeah.
these wars, and they need us to give them permission, and get us to do their dirty work, for these
Hmm.
wars. It's all about depopulation. That's the other thing. It's about depopulation. They're doing all sorts of stuff to depopulate the world. And, you know,
Yep.
100 years ago, women would have babies. You know, at 20 to 22 is the average age they'd start having a family. Now it's into the 30s. Okay,
Mhm.
because they started the whole women's lib thing. Women need jobs and their equal rights, and and now it's all about depopulation. We are so far below the ability to repopulate the world. It's pathetic. Never in history has a civilization that has a birth rate under 2.5 been able to recover. We are far below that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Are you guys followers of Crow 777 Radio?
Yes, I am.
Yes, yeah. So Crow, he just did another one on population. It's
Mhm.
amazing. I've been screaming for years that there are not 7 billion people in the world or 8 billion people. It is
There's
it
no
is
way.
this world is empty. Okay, it's empty.
Mhm.
Every American family could get a half an acre in Texas, and the rest of the country would be empty. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
every
Mhm.
family in the world can get an acre in Australia, and the rest of the world would be empty. Okay,
Yeah.
and half of Australia would be empty. Okay, it's
Yeah.
unreal how bad this is. So it's all about control, and the only control that they have is in our imagination. So that why do they hide the flat Earth? Because all those flat earthers they they um they unplug from the matrix. They no longer give it
Right.
energy, right?
Yep.
They no
No
longer
longer
give
give
it
it
energy.
energy.
The number of flat earthers is going through the roof. It's incredible what's going on. Um,
Yeah.
it's amazing. So
Well, I was talking to my son about this, and when you're a flat earther, you're just kind of talking to anybody that'll listen because most people won't. And
He's 17, by the way.
yeah, so he took a breath one time, and then I unloaded on him all kinds of knowledge, and he got to the point where he's very analytical. He's a numbers guy.
Mathematical.
He likes to do math for fun, which I don't understand,
good for him.
and so he's all about physics and science, and so he basically was like, you know what? I can't explain that. No, I can't explain that. And we got to the point where I was like, okay, wise guy, you think you're so smart, prove me wrong, and now he's he's talking to his friends
Yeah.
about the flat earth, like, no, it's
You,
flat, guys.
you know what I found with high school kids? Young kids are the worst. They're the most indoctrinated. They'll fight you left and right, and
Mm-hmm.
they're highly motivated with money. So when I mention 3 Bitcoins to them, they're like, "Oh yeah!" They're like, "Sunsets, give me my Bitcoin." Right? I'm like, the problem is it'll get them thinking, but most of them won't take the time because to truly understand
Mm-hmm.
how the sun sets on a flat Earth, you have to actually take an entire 12 minutes to learn it. Okay. And,
Yeah.
that's
That's a
too
lot for
much
these
for some
kids.
people. That's too
Yep.
much. Okay.
Yeah.
12 minutes will really show you how it works. And because they never taught you how perspective works, a 3-layer perspective, right? We live in a
Mhm.
3-layer world. We have the terrestrial layer where we are on, boats are on that, mountains and trees and skylines are on that. Then we have the atmos layer, the atmosphere layer, and that all compresses into an opaque horizon. And then you have
Mhm.
the celestial layer, which is above the atmos. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're underneath the atmos. So when
Mhm.
when in the distance, just 20, 30 miles away, the air becomes opaque. You can't see anything farther, and it all merges at our eye level. So we can zoom in and we can open it up. We can open up what's below that opaque layer, and we can see boats and mountains and skylines, right? But
Mhm.
anything in the celestial layer above that just keeps on moving farther away, and you can't zoom through the atmosphere that's opaque. And so it looks like it sets behind it due to perspective. Okay.
Mhm.
You look down a road with street lights on it, you're under a street light, it's 30 feet above your head. But a quarter of a mile down the road, that 30-foot high light is touching the road. But you
Mm-hmm.
know in your mind that it's the same height, but it optically is touching the road. Okay. And now, if
Yeah.
there was a layer in between you, 15 feet over your head of clouds, you wouldn't see the lights beyond that because they would be beyond those clouds. You'd be looking across those clouds instead of through them. and they would just go beyond it, and it just sets below it. And on my videos, if you go to my website, flatearthdave.com, scroll down to the interviews, just watch, a dozen of those, and I go through it in usually more than half of my videos. It'll show you all that stuff: perspective, how our eyes work, the angular resolution limits of our eyes, the impossibility of seeing stars, the impossibility of the North Star staying in one place, seasons proving flat Earth, stupid things Globers will say, NASA fakery, Elon Musk, Captain Kirk, the whole thing. I take the whole thing apart, and you only need one example, but I give 100. Okay, 100.
Another thing that was a big piece for me was when they were talking about eclipses and how eclipses work, and how the sun and the moon have to be the same size in order for an eclipse to work the way they say it works. But
Absolutely.
they don't. They're saying that the sun is so much bigger than the moon, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, oh yeah.
They say it's the sun's 400 times bigger and 400 times farther. So scaling in distance, they're claiming it works, and it kind of does work. You have something that's 400 times bigger, 400 times farther. It looks like it's the same size, which is an amazing coincidence, or perhaps they're just the same size. But
Right.
when you do a total eclipse like that, the Ring of Fire looks different. And the other thing is, eclipses were known and predicted, and the Soros cycle, which is every 18 point whatever years, where all the eclipses repeat, have been figured out and monitored long before the globe was even an option. It was back in the flat. All the world thought it was flat, and they created what's the name of it? It's a Chaldean calculator. I forget what it's called, but that's what NASA uses today to predict the eclipses, because the heliocentric model doesn't predict eclipses. That people don't realize that they use this old flat Earth method to predict eclipses, right? And if we're corkscrewing through space in a random gravitationally pulled, yanking in different directions, universe, how the heck would eclipses ever repeat? You can't even get three bodies to go in a predictable pattern. The three-body problem. Just look that up on YouTube. And
Yeah.
you'll see that the greatest supercomputer can't figure out what three gravitational bodies will do. It goes into random mode. Two bodies, yes, it can figure it out. Three or more? Are there more than three bodies in our solar system alone? Well, they just discovered 80 new moons, okay?
Okay.
Right? Which is ridiculous, right? And did you hear they discovered 7,000 new islands around Japan?
Oh,
I did not
Google
hear
that one.
Did you
Google-
hear
I did hear that.
Google that one. 7,000 islands around Japan, right? And you think that we know what's in outer space? You think that they're tracking hundreds of thousands of objects orbiting this Earth, satellites and debris, when we found 7,000 new islands here on Earth? Okay?
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, the math doesn't add up. It's funny because I talk to people, and you just get that blank stare, that look. You're like, this doesn't. I can't even believe that you would believe this stuff.
You're not
So I
allowed.
really appreciate.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I really appreciate you putting together all of these resources,
Right.
because it's really easy for a person to just dismiss it without doing anything about it. But you're making it so easy.
The app is the best way. I'm not here to sell apps. The app is a $3 app. It's because it costs over $10,000 a month to run this app. So anyone that gives me crap for charging $3 for an amazing resource that'll save you thousands of hours of wasted time, maybe the app isn't for you, or research isn't for you. But when you see all this stuff, how there's certain things we're not allowed to talk about, on YouTube. You can't say certain things. Well, they don't want you saying certain things. They don't want you talking about certain things. You're not allowed to use certain words. You know why you're not allowed to use the word retard anymore? Because it describes all the stuff that they tell us. It's retarded, right? It's absolutely retarded, right? And if people use the word retard, they're like, wait a minute, NASA's retarded. That's retarded, okay? It's absolute it's retardation. And the people that watch this stuff and believe it, it actually is retarding their brain growth. It really is.
Yep.
When you believe absolute and total nonsense versus your God-given common sense, you are retarding your brain. So, on the app, there's a button that is the shopping cart. Besides my T-shirt shopping, there's a You guys can't see it because it's off to the side. Oh, there it is. There's a hoodies by the guy that runs the Deftones, and one of them says "Flat Earther" is my favorite one, but he's got another one, the same style. It says "That's retarded." Okay, greatest sweatshirt ever. Solid quality hoodie.
That.
I highly recommend it. It's
I
really,
was just telling my wife I need to get that one the other day.
that's
the Flat
retarded or
Earther.
the Flat Earther.
Both.
Yeah, they're both good. And if
Yeah,
you
I
like a
got
good
more than one
hoodie,
day
which
to
I
wear a
think you
shirt.
do, right? I think you're wearing a hoodie right now. Am I seeing a hoodie on
Yep.
you? It's a rock solid black hoodie.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
I live my life in black.
Yeah. And now is the time. Like, I love wearing my gigantic Flat Earther because people, a lot of them don't even see it. They're like, "Oh, yeah, that's so ironic. Yeah, that's cool." Other people are like, "Flat Earth, really?" And I look at them on like, "Globe Earth, really?" And the conversation starts, and it's really fun, right? Because
Yeah.
if everybody did that, this will go super viral. And when this goes super viral,
Mhm.
all governments will fall, all universities will close. Okay, there
Praise
will
God.
be an amazing mayhem, and then a new world will be born.
That's what we want, right? We want to be free from this matrix mind trap that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, man, we're so thankful again that you were able to take the time. We won't take too much more of your time. We know it's valuable, but we just wanted to ask you those questions, present all of your information to our audience so that we could do just that, get people out of this retarding of their mind and being able to wake up to all of this ridiculous nonsense out there so that we can all live a free existence without all of this persecution and trappings that we're finding ourselves in.
People say, well, what difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. What if they're hiding technology that, let's say you have a device the size of a roll of quarters that will heat your house for 100 years, air condition your house for 100 years, power your car for 100 years. Would that make a difference in your life? Yeah.
In your bank account, for sure.
Well, it's going to free up a lot of your time. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And then, back in the day, colleges, I think, were a good thing because you had, people that, were really good at what what they know. And you want to learn from, a physics professor, you go to MIT and you go, but now we have the internet. You don't have to leave your bedroom. You don't have to go anywhere. You
Mhm.
can find anything you want. You want to learn about math? Khan Academy on YouTube. It's the best. Okay. It'll teach you every kind of math. Right. But, they don't teach you the real math, the sacred geometry, vortex mathematics, the real math that matters. They teach you managerial accounting and good slave math that'll turn you into a good accountant for their corporations. And that's what they want. So then you go to college and you're in debt, and they want to keep you living paycheck to paycheck, right? And people are like, "Oh, I'm so worried about getting into college." Every kid gets into college. Right? Oh, you don't have enough money? Oh, we'll lend you the money. Everyone gets in because it's all a trap for your mind. And I tell people, when I remember when my son was born, literally in the delivery room, I'm like, "Oh my God, I got to start saving for college," right? I'm thinking, and another kid, I'm like, college. By the time they go to college, it's going to be $500,000, and
Mhm.
literally, and I lived in this fear. And I did send my kids to college. Luckily, my daughter was smart enough after the first year to say, "This isn't for me," and she's living life large. She's doing amazing. So
Nice.
and so what I tell people is the best college for your kid, and this is a kid that I would hire, is Crow 777 Radio. I'm telling you, they put out 2 episodes a week. There's 400 old episodes. So here's your kid's college. Rent them a house on the beach somewhere in like Cape Hatteras, North Carolina,
Oh,
with
yeah.
some friends. And every day they have the 5 shows a week, 2 new ones and 3 old ones. So that's 2 hours a day. That's all they have to do. Right. And they can do it while they're gardening. They can do it while they're kite surfing. If they have waterproof headphones, they can do it while they're bike riding. They can do it while they're laying on the beach. They can do it while they're hiking, whatever they want.
Getting their vitamin D.
Right. and experiencing the world, learning stuff. Now, these people are going to know how to navigate the world, know how to operate the system. They say the only 2 things that are for sure are You guys know? The only
Death
two
and
things that
taxes?
are 100% for
Yeah.
sure, death and taxes. Both are
Yep.
both of those are lies. Okay? Both of those are lies, right? And when you listen to Crow, 2 hours in Crow, 777radio.com, um, it's $8 a month. He does not offer financing, so you're going to have to come up with the $8 a month, right? And by the way, if you have 2 kids, they can share the membership, right? As a
Ooh,
matter of fact, if you have a
perfect.
group of kids and you're going to put them all in the house, they could all share the membership. So you got 8 kids, it's $1 a month, right? And why am I
Wow.
pushing this? Because I've learned more from that podcast than all of my education ever.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and
Me
all
too.
of it is useful stuff, right? They teach you how to
Mhm.
navigate this world of maritime law that you never taught in school. Okay? They
Mhm.
teach you how to literally, you know, take over all of these overlords, I call them, that are
Right.
that are controlling you. And so you have a smarter kid. You didn't spend $250,000 on nonsense. The kid's connected with the earth, smart. Anybody would hire that kid, especially me.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need, man. We need freedom. We need free energy. We need all of these things that we know are there that they've been suppressing from us. And all we're trying to do is wake you guys up so that you can want it too. You can ask for this stuff too. You can get out of the matrix mindset too.
Mhm.
We can band together. There's more of us than there are of them. And this isn't about violence. This is about just standing up and saying, we're not doing it anymore. Stop. Leave us alone. We're doing it this way now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. This world is such an amazing place. And putting a kid at a desk and turning them into a slave and forcing them all to learn the same nonsense is literally killing their spark. It literally just
Mhm.
it damages them. But a kid, in my opinion, listening to Crow, he's like, you know what? I really like this maritime law stuff, or I really like this, this gardening show or whatever. And they're going to follow their passion and they're going to become awesome at it. And they're going to
Yeah.
navigate this world better than anybody else. And they're going to learn the truth
Mhm.
about, you know, um, what money is and taxes and all of the stuff that they don't teach you in school, right?
Mhm.
Um, you're going to learn stuff that most adults, most people don't know. 99.99% of the people don't know. The rich
Yeah.
know about it, okay?
Oh yeah.
But so I hope there's somebody listening that has kids in high school and they haven't quite saved enough for college and they're like, "You know what? Screw college." Let me tell you what college is. College is a social
Mhm.
growing. That's what college is. You go out, you move away from home, you live with other kids. Hey, you got your meals paid for, you got your housing paid for, and it's literally a launch into the world. The academics at college is nonsense, absolute and total nonsense.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to become a surgeon or electrician, yeah, you need those specific skills. That's fine, but the nonsense that they teach you in college is unnecessary.
It is.
Absolutely unnecessary. So that's why I say, I'd love to see, and I know people that are doing this already. They'll get a couple kids and they'll rent them a house on the Cape somewhere,
Yeah.
so let's say the house is, I don't know, whatever. It's expensive house. It's less than college, right? You put them there,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
you create the curriculum for them. And I'm telling you, on the homeschooling button on the app alone, there's so much information in there. Your kids are going to figure out what their true calling is, right? And they're
Yeah.
going to teach you some things if you don't already do it.
Yeah. It's true. All right, man. Well, that's it for us. We know that you've got valuable time, so we're going to wrap it
Mhm.
up. So incredibly blessed to have you on our podcast. You brought so much information. Thank you for all that you're doing. We
Mhm.
appreciate all the effort that you're putting in. I think one day people are going to look back and be like, that dude's a hero, which I know you're not looking for. You don't want that at all. but I think people are going to look back and be like, that dude was a hero, waking people up.
Here's the thing. I am seeing a difference in the world. 4 or 5 years ago, you mentioned flat Earth, you just get ridiculed and yelled at, and people get angry.
Mm-hmm.
Now you mention flat Earth, like, that's interesting. I have some questions, and the conversation starts.
Right.
And I was just in Mexico. We went on Mexico this winter, and 8 different times people recognized me. Now that's not, oh, I'm a celebrity. That's not it at all, right? It's
Yeah.
8 times people from all over the world recognize me, but because they saw my flat Earth necklace, they're like, wait a minute, flat Earth. And they're like, wait a minute, you're that guy. And so, so that's just, to me, an indicator. Okay, an indicator. I don't want fame. I'd rather nobody knew who I was, but I want everyone to know the Earth is flat. And if that's the sacrifice I have to make, I don't care. I don't care, because guess what? We call flat earthers blue dots because on the app everyone's a blue dot, and it shows you where they all are. I've never met a blue dot I don't like, right? When we all have a good time. Like, we're having a meetup April 29th in Port Chester, New York, and there'll probably be, I don't know, 100 to 200 people there. Every single person you turn around and talk to is an awesome, awake, aware, interesting person, right? The app has actually become like the #1 dating tool, right? Not like Tinder or anything. It's like any blue dot around you, male or female, is literally your best friend. And you know what? Hey, if the male and the female, who knows what could happen? And we've seen what's happened. People are already getting married because no dating site, friendship site can match you up as well as meeting another flat earther, because flat earthers already have 90% of their and the important things in common. Right?
Yeah.
They're awake and aware to the boogeyman, that's going around for the last couple of years. They're awake and aware that we don't live in a heliocentric ball. They're aware of deceptions in the world. They're aware that their minds create their own reality. That's a lot, okay? And other sites don't do this. So it's becoming a great way to use their tool against them. So you can find anything I'm talking about at flatearthdave.com.
Yes, we'll put all of your stuff in the show notes so people can get right to you.
flatearthdave.com. That's all you got to remember.
I love it, man. Well, thanks again. And everybody out there listening, we're so thankful that you came and spent the time with us. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you learned a lot. Hopefully you didn't run away in the first couple of seconds. But we're so thankful for all of you for following us and listening. And with that, Dave, we'll catch you on the next one, buddy. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thanks. See you guys.